Purification. And I want to kind of shortly kind of bring this a little bit together with emptiness to have a deeper understanding. So when we look to the whole process of inner growth, the toughest and the first part of inner growth is basically accepting yourself and come to a stage where you are able to move inside yourself, to the depth of yourself, to layers where you wake up, you can witness, to move into the here and now, to observe. And from the whole movement between the witness and the observer, there is this kind of link into freedom in which we don't get so easily hooked again in our emotions. There is nothing wrong with our emotions. Our emotions are basically connected with our instincts. So again, in this, acceptance is so important, to accept your emotions and to find a way to relate to them, to integrate our patterns, our traumas, our pains. It doesn't mean that suffering is gone from your life. Suffering is part of life. It would really be crazy if you would lose somebody you really love and you wouldn't feel pain because of that. But the amount of suffering and how we hook in suffering absolutely changes at a certain point. And partly because there is the self-confidence and the deep inner knowledge that every experience in life we move through will pass. Nothing is forever. The other big thing which is coming forward on our pathway of inner growth is that we realize that there is always an end situation. So we can be and happy and emotional and sad. This all can be together. We can be in a turmoil inside and at the same time have a background of total inner peace. It's not either or. So to realize the depth of end brings you to a state which is called enlightenment, which is basically a moment. And we don't want to be really in states, because states tend to become dead. You know, it's not very healthy to be in a state of bliss, because in the end the state of bliss becomes dead. There must be a movement in which we, even the most joyful moment, are able to sacrifice, to let go for the next moment. This is what life is about. And what we see, if we're able to move like this, is that every experience we have is refining and refining and refining. And this process of refinement is purification. And this is when we kind of move from being, which is so much connected with enlightenment and the state of enlightenment, into a deeper layer of ourselves, which we named existence. Existence through emptiness. So this movement in itself, when you move to the depth of emptiness, in emptiness everything is alive, has its own life. That means that you realize that your emotions are connected with your physical body. Your physical body has a life. And your emotions have their own life, attuned to the physical body and attuned to the mind. A lot of emotions are coming forward not because the physical body is in a difficult situation or under threat, but because our mind decides that our system is under a threat. And there's a lot of illusion in this. Part of these illusions we are all kind of in these 5 days are more or less confronted with is rejection. Of course, to reject another person is one of the most cruel things we can do to another person. And we often reject because we so deeply feel rejected. So the pain is too much, and then we kind of, reject. But the question is, can we really reject? What are we rejecting? And so often, when we look into this and into the depth of this, what we are rejecting are parts of ourselves. Parts we have a difficulty to integrate. And these parts we kind of recognize maybe, or sometimes just purely fantasize, project, imagine in another person. Through rejection, we create loneliness. Through rejection, we create loneliness. And again, loneliness is one of the feelings which are inside ourselves, which are absolutely general. Everybody knows loneliness. It's not something shameful, it's not something bad, it's part of our makeup, it's something we create, it is an illusion as well. When you move to the depth of purification, that means that everything which is not yours falls off, burns. Everything which doesn't totally belong to yourself, you get rid of. It burns off. And that's such an incredible liberation. Because all the have-tos, all the pretense, all the adjustments we're making, not to be rejected, all the effort we do to be good, all the effort we do to deserve our existence, falls away. We just exist. We can be natural ourselves. This is the highest goal we can reach, the freedom to be ourselves. It's so simple. And in these states are not needed. It is what it is. So the element which comes with purification, which is so much connected with the whole area of emptiness, because in emptiness everything comes alive, arises, and if we can accept it, it will purify. The whole movement is a movement of refinement and purification. It's the Christ energy, it's the middle way, it's the light which arises in the meeting position of male and female. It's the fire of the new creation. There's so many different ways to describe it. But to really connect it, we have to kind of empty ourselves. We have to be open. We have to empty ourselves in a way that it can arise from the depth of ourselves. This is also what we are. It's not something we need to take from the sky, or to steal from the earth, or to have from outside. This is inside ourselves. This is also what we are. It's just to open up to the deepest layers of ourselves. To move back home inside yourself. So fire is a purifying. It refines. And this morning we made a meditation with Pauli in which we kind of were throwing things in the fire, putting yourself in the fire. This is purifying. Now I want to do a meditation which is based on this, and a little bit maybe more difficult, a little bit cruel. What I like you to put into the fire is something you really, really appreciate of yourself, or something you really, really love. If we put our love in the fire, it purifies. And it purifies of all the hooks, of all the conditions. It becomes free, it becomes unconditional. It's often when we look to the ones we love the most, we're the most cruel because of our own fears and our own conditions. So it's so worthwhile to purify your love on a regular basis. To give the other person unconditional the freedom to be her or himself. To let go of the love we so much enjoy that we want to make it a state. It has to be the same all the time. It cannot develop anymore. And the more it has to stay the same, the more it becomes a state, the more it becomes conditional. That's why couples have quarrels now and then. To shake the tree, to let go of the conditions, to purify, to find each other again in a deeper way. This is not bad. It's sometimes very helpful. When the anger rises up with a lot of fire in it and passion, it's the passion basically you feel for the other person. The passion of love. The structure of the meditation. I'd like you to connect with the ID. The ID is around 30 centimeters above our head. It's a point of light. It's connected with our own inner light, spiritual light, soul, essence, whatever you would call it. And at the same time with the source of light in the universe, from which we are part. So we connect with the ID, and from the ID I'd like you to move with 2 circles downwards to the heart and bring light to the heart. And then after that we move with 2 circles downwards to the basis of the body, to the root, which is around here, above the coccyx.
Wortelcentrum?
Naar het wortelcentrum,
Ja.
boven het stuitje. And being there, being at the coccyx, I'd like you to connect with emptiness.
With emptiness, did you say?
Emptiness.
Het wortelcentrum of het staartje?
Het wortelcentrum.
Oké.
Just connect with the feeling of emptiness, and then the feeling of emptiness, if it moves towards the coccyx and the whole basis of the body, that's great. How do you connect with emptiness?
Like this, I connect to my brain.
What?
What'd you say?
What did you say?
Connect to her brain.
Ah, that's always. You're so developed.
And precise.
We connect with emptiness basically through thinking about emptiness. This is a way to open up to feeling emptiness. To kind of make empty.
What?
Make empty. Or just to find the emptiness which is always there. So then what I like you to do is from the emptiness, when you kind of have a connection with emptiness, invite fire to come up. Through you, around you.
To come up.
To move upwards. To rise up.
Within the fire? Is this what?
No, from the emptiness you invite fire to move up. Through you, around you. Or you invite light to come up inside you, around you. So, when you feel that even if it's the tiniest light starts to rise up, just allow it. And when you've got a connection with fire or light, what I like you to do is to take a moment after a while to let go into the fire or the light, something which is really, really precious to you. If this is difficult, to kind of basically give one of the things you really love, which is really precious to you, to the light of the universe, to God, into the light, to let it go. So after that we connect with our feet, and from our feet we kind of let ourselves, or our awareness, consciousness, move a little bit into the ground or a lot into the ground. And then there will be a little bit of music.
Can you repeat the last one? The feet?
In the end, you connect with your feet, and then you let yourself sink a little bit or a lot into the ground. Just to invite your energy to move down.